Hey, it's Karen from Liongate Farm. Today I am going to teach you how to make these cool multimedia silk velvet and felted mushrooms. So let's go. Hey, it is Karen from Liongate Farm, and today, I know you guys have been asking, I'm going to teach you how to make these silk velvet mushrooms. So again, this is a multimedia fiber project where the stem and the insides are wool. And then this is hand-dyed velvet. So it's velvet that I dye. And there will be a kit coming probably in the near future, next week or so. I just need to dye up some more velvet for you guys. But I'm going to show you how to make 2 different sizes. And it's very simple. Core wool. Remember I taught you about the dryer ball covered with fabric as a felting service, round felting service. And then if you want to make your stem a different color, you would obviously need different colors, but we're going to demonstrate the core wool color today. Again, you need other color wool. And then some silk velvet. So, hand me a ruler. Wait a minute. So the pieces that I'm using today, just so you know, one is 4.5 by 4.5. This one will get cut down here, but it's about a 3 by 3. That'll get cut down. You need a needle and thread because we're going to gather the velvet onto our mushroom. You need some 16 gauge wire. And then I will show you some options for, like, if you want to stick these in a flower pot, you would basically just run a wire up there and then, or a skewer, either one. There are no precise measurements to these because there aren't to mushrooms. But cool thing you could do is chime in on the video and tell Canon what color velvets you would like to see. Or message me on Liongate Farm on the website, liongate.org. There's a contact form there. So let's get started. You need a little bit of core wool. We'll make the big one first. It's so easy. So kind of decide how big your mushroom's going to be. Determines where you're going to work at on your ball. Doesn't need to be right on the top. But basically, we just need to make a half dome here. We just need to make a small half dome. It's Cinco de Mayo here in Oregon and probably everywhere else. And we tested out the new slushy machine today and had margaritas for Meetup Monday. I don't advise testing margaritas at 9 a.m. in the morning like I did. I'm like, oh, is it slushy enough? Yeah, it was. By the time everybody got here, I was quite happy. It's pretty funny because I am a lightweight. I don't drink as a rule, but they do, and they like margaritas. And the slushy machine is awesome. But the best thing the slushy machine does is it makes ice cream. And John and I tested it out this weekend and made soft serve fresh strawberry ice cream. So delicious. So delicious. But if you can do it, get a slushy machine because it's just pure decadence. Cannon said, oh, this looks like a real one. It is a real slushy machine. So you can see I'm just adding core wool. You can hear that dryer ball. It's got a lot of good sound to it when you stab into it. But just like any felting service, we're going to need to peel this off pretty soon. So I like this to be just a little thick. So basically we're making a bowl. And you know how felt shrinks. This will shrink in size just a little bit. So the size of your dryer ball is going to matter that you're using as your surface or whatever ball you're using. And this was the best trick I ever learned. I don't even remember who posted it, but it was like, this is the best thing ever. You can make these round shapes almost perfectly. So basically I'm just getting this all firm and then we're going to peel it off. That's all we need the ball for. I like to see what the inside looks like. Not very good. All right, so let's stab on this for a minute. And I like to stab toward the center because it's going to shrink it a little bit. pull those fibers over. It depends on what size mushroom you're making. And see, we kind of have a mushroom cap going. So now we're going to fill that in. What is Stewie doing to you? He has new catnip balls and he is very happy. He is a very happy cat. I don't know if I told you, but I planted a catnip plant last year. And at the end of the season, he found it. Well, when it came up this year, he's laying on it. So I had to put a cage over it so Stewie cannot lay on it.
Imagine he's just laying on the cage.
He's late. No, he can't get in there. I'm just like, no, this is my catnip for now.
What are you going to do with the catnip?
Dry it and use it for them.
Oh, okay.
Stewie is an avid catnip user. Avid. He even likes the cat mint plants, which are different than catnip, but he thinks he needs to lay right in the middle of them. So he's what do I want to say? He doesn't care what leaf he's using. If it smells like catnip, it must be good. He just gets all happy. So if you want to make mushrooms and not cover them in silk velvet, you can just keep going from this point. Because I am going to put the stem on first. They do not have to be super hard. In fact, you don't want them super hard because when we put the velvet on, we're going to gather it up and it kind of pulls it into an interesting shape. But I will show you how to do the big one and the little one using the big ball, big dryer ball. We did the Barnstormers Vintage Market this weekend.
How'd that go?
It was interesting. So remember, I was really just there to support my friend. I had some stuff, not very much. I had a lot of vintage fabric for very interesting prices. And I got a bunch of that went away. That was kind of good. A lot of Bev's stuff went away. It was good. But I normally am an attendee to the vintage market. And if I would have been an attendee this year, I might have been a little sad because some of the best vintage people were not there. Because I was looking forward to snagging new stuff for John's venue. And there wasn't much. So it was a little sad that way. But we had fun. We always had fun meeting people. Beverly had a whole bunch of vintage toys. Way older than you.
Like dolls?
No, boy toys. Like models and Ninja Turtles. And were Ninja Turtles when you were a kid?
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit.
Older than me.
The Swamp Thing. Just tons of old vintage toys. From the 60s and 70s.
People are still buying them?
The guys are buying them. Oh my gosh, they were lots of Tonka trucks. And they were in mint condition. I mean, they'd been played with because they were her kids. But it was lots of toys. We sold lots of books, lots of kid books. Golden books. I don't know if you had golden books when you were a kid.
Nope.
No?
Never heard of it.
There's little books on, just little gold books. All right, so we have a little mushroom cap here. See, and it's not felted super hard. You don't have to felt it super hard. So now I'm going to show you this. I'm going to measure this just to see what I've got. I've got 14 inches of wire. And normally I just weasel it through, but I'm going to use a skewer. Okay, and we're going to go through. You know, my favorite skewer method, which doesn't seem like it's going to work this time, so we'll just shove it through. can feel it. It doesn't want to come through. Come on. Now, if it was harder than this, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. Come on, come through. Oh, it's sharp on one end, so that's why it doesn't want to come through. It's the way I cut it. So here's where you decide how long you want your stem to be. And I'm just going to wing it and say, oh, I think I would like it about this long. And then I'm going to actually twist this on. And then I'm going to come this way. And I'm going to go back up through. And just bring it down. So interesting, right? Now we're going to squeeze it. Don't worry about the bottom. I just want to twist this top part. We will untwist that bottom in a second. I just want to twist that nice and firm right there. And oh, didn't I make a mess down here? Let's poof this back out. And let's tuck that in. So basically we're just making an interesting pear shape down here. And yes, this is too short, but it doesn't matter. So now let's get to work and do a little bit more poking up here. I just wanted to get those wires in there. Once we wrap the stem, it will become very firm. I like to make a little indent here. You know how the mushroom caps go. So I've made a bunch of mushrooms where I've come in and made all the little gills that they have. Let's just firm it up just a little, all the way around. And it's going to keep getting smaller. So now we have this puffy thing here. So let's take another piece of core wool. You can use white here. I just kind of like the natural core wool color on my mushrooms. And I'm attaching it right here at the base. And I like this to start out pretty skinny. Now you're going to go, what is she doing? I am going to tuck all this inside of there. And then I'm going to take the next piece, which has some garbage in it. Start up at the top. So Cannon, when they tell you what color mushroom, what color velvet they want, you need to make sure you tell me. Because I am dyeing this week. I don't know which day.
I will relay the information.
Yes, you will.
They can also post in the group if they're in the Facebook
Oh,
group.
yeah, they can post it in the group. Let me know in the group. So you can see I'm just firming this up. So every time I add a layer, I'm pushing it into the cap of the mushroom. And it's up to you as to what kind of mushroom we're making here. Did you look at John's fence that he got up with the wheels?
No, I'll check it out when I leave though.
Yeah, we got the new fence up. We got another new fence, a little decorative fence up by where the sunflowers always are. That's going to look good because then they can't fall over into the lawn. That was my main purpose. Well, actually, my main purpose was when I cut them off last year, I was horribly worried because when you cut sunflowers off, you leave about a foot sticking up. They were like spikes, and I was seriously worried someone was going to trip and fall into them, into my bed of sunflower spikes. That would not have been pretty at all. Mostly worried I was going to do it.
Sounds like a medieval trap.
It looked like a medieval trap. I mean, I had to I put bricks and a board across it because it looked bad. But the dead sunflowers looked worse. So. Last night was our last cold night. It is planting season. Starting tomorrow. And my back patio has a lot of plants that need to be planted. I'm excited. So there's our little mushroom. It's still not, we're going to fix this. See how it's not super stable? It will be. So now we need our bigger piece of velvet. And we're going to say, all right, this is definitely going to fit on here. All right, so what you need to do next? I like to round the corners. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just take your scissors, cut these little corners off. I have done it without rounding the corners, and you can do that if you put your gathering stitches in curved, but why do that when we can cut the corners off? So let's cut those off. And then you are going to thread a needle and thread. So we're going to run a basting stitch. So you definitely want a knot in the end. You have a doubled thread here. And just your basic sewing needle. You're going to pick a spot and you're just going to go in and out right around the edge. Just a little basting stitch. Cannon and I were actually going to film this yesterday, but he was not well and I was green at the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to keep helping John. And I was pure green. I had the weed eater. I was pure green. Working outside. And his lawnmower broke. I told him he's got to get it mowed or we're going to have to hire someone to hay our yard. If he doesn't get on it, the belt broke. He's got a new one. It should be here tomorrow. It was funny. Irrigation ran on Friday, so all the pastures got watered. That's good. Our next irrigation runs on Wednesday. The weddings are coming, Cannon. The weddings are coming.
Do you have any booked right now? Or?
Oh, yeah. We have one this month, I think. I kind of like only having one a month. I don't think John does, but... All right, so we've come to the beginning. So we're going to come out. Now, I am inside out on my velvet. So we're going to turn it right side out. And then we're going to stuff the mushroom in there. So I pulled mine tight already. You might not want to pull it that tight. Just get the whole cap in there. So don't use too short a thread or you won't be able to get your mushroom in there. I mean, you might. You can squeeze it in. So now we're going to pull this. Remember, I like to squish it in. See, it's squishing in. See what it's doing? So that's why you leave your mushroom cap kind of squishy. Pull it to as tight as you want it. I'm going to go about there. And then we're going to knot this thread off. I do a double knot because I'm always paranoid it's going to come undone. Ask me if that's ever happened. Obviously it has. Okay, and then we're going to just cut this off. So now that's still pretty ugly. This is just not finished. So now you're going to work your, don't do it with your needle. You're going to work your little gathers around so they're even. And they become like your little, the underside of the mushroom. I don't like this spot. Oh, see what happened just now? I came undone. I'm going to rescue it. This could happen to you. So velvet is an interesting animal because the weave is looser than regular fabric. So sometimes your knot can slip through, which is why I double knot it, but even then it came through. All right, well now I have a mess. All right, watch what I'm going to do here. Come on, get in there. I am just going to knot this guy off really good. Don't you guys just love when I have technical difficulties? Okay, now we are knotted off. Okay, but still, I still don't like the way the bottom of this looks. So to finish this, we are going to take more of our core wool, or whatever color you're working, and you are going to felt right over the edges. And one of the things that will happen is you can felt in between the little wrinkles. You know, I know a lot of people out there make these mushrooms with paper stems. They make the whole mushroom cap out of something and then they cover it. I've never really watched a video on how they do it, but I've seen them where the stems are this cool paper. And I thought, why can't we do that with felt? And we can. So I've been making them this way for a while. I can tell you that these are a big seller at my holiday markets. So if you make them into an ornament, people love the mushrooms. However, they disappear pretty easy on your if you're using pine trees as displays. So if you're putting them on pine trees, make sure you're making them out of lighter colors. You can also tell me if you want the silk velvet available not in a kit, like just small pieces. It's not the cheapest fabric, but I can dye it up. This color that we're using, I threw in the animal creative packs this time. So if you got one of those, you can make a mushroom. Or you can use it to make little clothes for your creatures. Little velvet pants, a little velvet vest. Super cute on a mouse. So I'm working all the way down into the stem, again, to firm that up. The weather was crummy on Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's cloudy.
Cloudy. It was freaking cold outside.
Yeah, Yeah, and it was windy too.
Yeah.
But it's nothing but blue skies for the rest of the week.
For a long time.
Yeah.
I'm glad. All right, I am going to use my pen tool and get way down in there. It'd be really cute if you had a little log and you stuck these in a log. So when I'm making these, I tend to work these for a while so that this is super smooth, you know, so it doesn't have a lot of fuzzies. The other thing you can do is dress them up with locks down here, like their little roots. Remember, there's wires in here. So the way I bent those wires, because mushrooms are never perfectly symmetrical down here. They're always an interesting shape. I had a mushroom kit one time and I grew a mushroom. I grew mushrooms because I love mushrooms. I could eat mushrooms forever. And they were fun. Some of them were huge. So if we were going to, if you wanted to place this, you could put it on a wire. Just work this wire up inside, or you can actually use a skewer. You can skewer it in and then slide it down into a pot. I'm trying to figure out how you're going to take pictures of these. Or you can thread some fishing line through the top for the ornaments. Fishing line is good because you can't see it. Okay, so let's make a small one now. So the more that you poke this right here, the farther in this cap will go. You can actually poke it with the lines if you want. There is a big one. Ooh, I like this color. All right, let's do a little one. Okay, so now we're gonna make a small one. We're still gonna use this, but we don't wanna go as far down. We're just gonna use the very top of it. You know, you don't even need to use the top. You can use the side. You just need to make a small cap, just like we did for the other one. So I'm kind of drawing my way around with the core wool, and then I'll push it into the middle. Because remember, this is a small piece of velvet. And notice it's not square. So it's 4 inches by 3 inches, but we can only really go 3 inches. So kind of be mindful of that when you're making this top part. You need to have a little bit of overlap to go under. Of your fabric. So 1/4 inch all the way around. Or a little bit more. I just love that using the ball, you get the shape right away that you need instead of trying to build it on a flat felting surface. So much littler than our first guy. Let's peel him off. He's just a little baby guy. Now we're going to fill it up. Poke it in. And you don't want it to get flat. So you want to keep it round. The whole purpose. So you could do this shape too. Just when you draw it in, you don't want to squish it so much. Just because it's small doesn't mean it doesn't have to be tall. You could roll it, and that helps you get the sides. I think there's a lot of mushroom videos out there. Yeah?
I've seen a ton.
Yeah, but they're a little bit different than this. Aren't they all felted?
I think they're kind of, I've seen multimedia ones.
Are they the ones with the paper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are kind of cool. But I've never delved into the paper ones. So if you don't like, I'm going to show you guys something else. If you don't like poking the hole, let's figure out how big our stem's going to be. If you don't like poking the hole, I'm going to give you another option. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to come around and go here. Go in there. So see, I'm still making my little weird pear shape. Okay, we can wrap this around. This is just one other option. We want to maintain this shape right here. You can do this. Sometimes this works better for some people. Okay, I'm going to bend it all wacky for a minute. And we can stuff some wool down here. So it might be easier for you to get the stem shape if you poke it in like this. We're still going to twist it once we get it attached. This is really why we're doing 2 mushrooms, because I wanted you to see this other way to put this on. So basically I'm using wool as glue. Instead of poking the hole through it, we're just adding it in. And we're felting it on. So we're still going to push this top portion together. And twist it a little bit. It's not as pretty, I don't think, as the other one. And if you have wire sticking out, you're going to want to cover it. Just remember that wire's in there. So there's more than one way to put in your stem wire. And if they're ornaments, you really don't even have to put in a stem wire. The stem wire just gives you something to wrap around. You could probably use a pipe cleaner. I think mine are going to end up in a flower pot eventually. You know, maybe with a bee or a dragonfly. They want us to do a dragonfly. Did you see that?
I think I did.
So I'm going to have to work that out. I think we would still make the wings out of Angelina like we ironed them that one time. Because you know how dragonflies are iridescent. And sparkly. They're not here yet. They're not out yet.
Dragonflies? I haven't seen any. No.
Because we have millions of them around here. Because of the pond. We have a 1/4 acre pond on the property. And let me tell you, if you have a pond, things come to it. Deer, elk, lots of things. So this one, I'm going to work down a little bit on the edges. So whatever you have underneath, whatever shape, that's going to give you the shape of your mushroom, depending on how tight you pull that velvet. Let's give him a stem. I don't like that end poking out. I'll just cover it up. I'm going to stuff this in. Fill up that little hole. Fill up my little wire cage. They're so fast. You can make a whole bunch of these in a very short period of time. These would be great in a flower pot with a gnome sitting next to them. Or a fairy. You know, it's so quiet in here because John is normally watching TV and we can hear it. But it's really quiet in here. You know, it's a good thing we didn't film yesterday because I cut all those strawberries up and my hands were utterly red. I'm like, oh man, Kenneth's going to kill me. You like how I think about you? I think about you when I get dye all over my hands or strawberries. So the guy in White City that stands on the corner, you're like, where? He's on the corner of Agate and G, I think. Anyways, he's got a little fruit stand.
Oh, yeah, over by like the little fire department.
Oh, yeah, and the strawberries are so good right now. And he has mangoes, and he has cherries and oranges.
Wow.
Delicious. We were coming back from the show, and I made John, stop, I want some strawberries.
Where did they get the strawberries from?
California.
Oh, okay.
They're good, though. A lot of times right now they're really good. A lot of times they'll just be super red, and they won't have a lot of flavor, but you tasted them. They have flavor. They're good. There's John. Now the TV will come on. That's how he decompresses. So smaller stem, smaller strokes with your needle. There's a lot more wire in it this way. If you do it this way, it will still look the same. It's just that your wire was wider. It just takes a little bit more work to get it smoothed out. I'm actually going along, tucking all these little fibers. So just like on the other one, you need thread to thread your needle. Tie a really good knot at the end so we don't run into the same problem we did with the first one. So since this one is odd shaped, let's check out how much we're gonna need. We're gonna need at least that much. We're only gonna cut off a sliver. I'm gonna cut off about this much. Makes it somewhat square. And again, let's round the corners just a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect or precise. And just like the other one, we are going to gather the edges. Doesn't matter what side you start on. We're just putting a running stitch in and out. You could do this on your sewing machine if you really wanted to. Do a running stitch around. I just think this is just as easy. Okay, I'm going to spread it out so our mushroom will go inside. So the smaller stitches that you take will determine how many more wrinkles you will get on the side. So if you're making big running stitches, you'll get bigger wrinkles around the edge. If you're making small ones, I guess mine tend to be about a 1/4 inch apart, maybe a little bit more. Okay, at the end. So this one I don't have to pull out because I left it ungathered. Fit it over the top. Try and keep it even. Now it almost looks like I don't have enough, but trust me, I do. Tuck your finger in. Oh, this one stayed. See, this is how the first one was supposed to go, Cannon. All done. And then cut it off. Okay, so now work your wrinkles around. This one should work around really easy. It's like something wearing a little granny hat, you know? They're the cutest thing. I have a friend named Laura, and we pass craft ideas around like mad. Like how we could make them better, what we could do. There's a piece of thread in there. Okay. So you can hear me going through the edge of the velvet. Don't use a lot right here. Your goal is just to cover that edge. We're just hiding the cut edge of the velvet. For sure I made these. I didn't think anyone wanted mushrooms. Holy cow, was I wrong. And that was a long time ago. So I think I have too much right here. No, maybe not. Everybody I know is going camping right now, and I'm like, why do you want to go camping? Probably because I live camping, right? I feel like I live camping. And they only go camping like 10 miles from their house.
I just like to get outside.
Well, yeah, I just have to walk down to the fire pit. And seriously. My friend is like, we need somewhere to test our camper and our camper awning. I'm like, well, my driveway is available. We wouldn't even know you were there. Because it's a tiny little trailer, like a 1967 one that they restored. It's really cool. It's all vintage. I grew up camping in a trailer like that with my parents. We did we took a 2-week vacation every summer. It was awesome. And drove all over the United States. I think we saw all of the ones we could drive to. Let's smooth this out a little bit more. Get a nice smooth shape. You know, if you want to add a collar, let's do one more thing on this one. Let's draw a line in a little piece of core wool. We're going to draw a line. Then we're going to fold it. Because we just want this little edge. Peel it off. We need that edge to be nice and smooth. You know my trick for getting rid of fuzzies. So let's get rid of the fuzzies before we put it on. Now we're going to wrap it around. We want it to end up right about there. So you're just going to wrap it around, poke up in here, and then you're going to poke the top on. I'm using all that fringe. poke it on. This is not the easiest thing. So first do underneath, get it placed where you want, and then let's get this all poked in. I like to make like a double collar thing. I'm going to go back up top and poke down once we get this bottom piece put on. Just give some more depth to your mushroom. And it's not just a boring stem at this point. So let's get back up here. You know, I got to get started on my black sheep entry. I kind of know what I'm making, but I haven't started it yet. I'm gonna have to work like a banshee.
That's where you make one big project?
Yes, one giant project. I have an idea. It's been percolating. Right now I'm percolating the structure underneath. My friend Janice had made something awesome. She made a cow, like a big old cow that's pulling like a wagon with a farmer. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fancy. You know, she kicked my butt at the fair last year. She beat my raven. My raven was all one color. That was the problem. And it was black. Okay, so this mushroom's all dressed to go out. So if you don't like the double one, you can just poke it in and leave it a single one. But I kind of like a double. Just sculpt it in there. And we're just about done. So make sure you like the video, follow us, because it really helps us out. It's funny, I was talking to my brother. He's like, do you say all that, like the video and follow us? And I'm like, yes. He's like, everybody knows that already. But maybe people don't know. So I said, maybe people don't know. So we're going to keep telling them. So like and follow us. And then if you need supplies, head over to liongate.org. Click on the wool shop. I think I changed the name to the wool shop to make more sense. And then, what else, Cannon? What else?
Like the videos, comment, and subscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah, I knew I forgot something. And then join the Facebook group. Post what you make. Post anything you make. We like to see it. It's super fun. We aren't the hugest group. Maybe someday we will be a big group. But that's okay. That is okay. And if you see somebody putting some spam in the group, make sure you let one of us know if we don't see it right away. Because I saw some crazy stuff recently, and I'm like, whoa, delete that. There's spam people everywhere. Agreed?
Oh, yeah.
We were doing our live video last week, and we had the spam guy pop up right in the middle of the video. He was saying bad stuff. Here I am trying to delete it while Ellie's talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, does anybody else see that? Delete it, delete it.
Jeez.
In the middle of our live video, because he was commenting. Well, I assume it was a man. I don't know. Pretending to be a man. It was something. Spam in our live video. It was, oh my goodness. I think I got it before anybody else saw it. Okay, so here we go. Here's our mushrooms for the day. Remember, if you want to make a different color stem, don't ask me what color this is because it's a custom blend someone sent me. It's a green. most likely would be like close to lichen or sunflower. But here you go. Here's all of our mushrooms for the day. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.